Yeah.
Because there are so many, but I don't have.
Use my images or add your photos or.
So we can start the second part. Okay. Okay.
So we will wait for.
It's website. And to have 10 slides for free, you can innovation, or you can buy it internally.
You use free or you?
No, I buy it because it's easier for me.
Yeah, yeah.
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 Infatti, la lobby.
Yeah.
Manca della lobby.
We were just talking about the application sites for making presentations. That I took this slide and put my presentations in CLB, translates everything. He keeps the images that I want, he changes the ones that I don't want. Perfect.
Yeah. I will use it. I will try it, please.
It's easy. And if you want to prepare something, I'm checking students in that way. You can just give it a subject. And he will find everything on the web, on the internet and just prepare your presentation. Amazing. It is. Wow. So we will go back to the paper and the pen and everything because
It's me.
we wouldn't know if they are doing that or the something else. Some AI is doing that for them.
Yeah.
And when he suggested some picture, I told him for some picture. Yeah, but I want him with the forensics you. I
And it's
want more blood. I want more
Yeah.
crime scene tape. It's okay.
okay.
And then he gives me suggestions. Do you want to do that? Oh yes, I want to.
Yeah,
do that.
yes, of course. Yeah.
We went to insert the pasta with tomato, yes.
Spell check. Because there's a picture and the language on the picture is Serbian. And he
Okay.
said, do you want me to translate it?
Of course.
Cool. It's not
And
a
I did
problem.
not know idea that he could do that.
So guys, let's start again
Yeah.
for the second part.
So
So
we talked about crime scene, and now we will talk more about collecting evidence on the crime scene. Let's go. What's important? The thing you already learned. You have crime scene, and then you have police technicians and forensic technicians and police officers. They collect traces and materials, take them to forensic institutes using crime scene protocols. They get expert opinions, and because this is the trace, and it becomes evidence after all this procedure. When you collect something on the crime scene, it's not the evidence. It becomes evidence after proper collection, proper handling, proper procedure in the laboratory, and proper opinion. Then it goes to court, and then you get the verdict. Every crime scene is unique. There are no two crime scenes that are the same. And one of our colleagues used to say that there is no unsolvable crime and there is no crime without traces. There's just bad prosecuted investigation. So you need to know what to do. We talked mostly about primary scenes, but there's also secondary scene and scene linkage. Secondary scene can be, as we talked earlier today, the place where something was planned, or some place where some traces were left, or they got rid of some evidences. When you go to the crime scene, first you need to assess what will you do there, evaluate everything, then see what you have, not just from the equipment, but from personnel. Maybe it's some late night shift and there's just you and your colleague down there, and you need to do everything on your own. Or will you call some special team, specialized units for some type of crimes? After that, you will need to say how will you document everything, what will you do, what's the procedure, and how to collect every evidence. And to also understand contamination, the process of contamination. How can anything be contaminated? With direct transfer, cross-contamination, environmental, and person-related. What is a direct transfer? Do you know? When there's a transfer between some surface and evidence material. Just put it somewhere. Cross-contamination can be contamination between evidences or sometimes between crime scenes. After each crime scene, you need to clean your equipment, because if you don't do that, you can take the parts of one crime scene to the other one. There was a case, well, several cases in Germany at the beginning of this century when DNA was just starting, and they saw some female DNA profile at each crime scene. It doesn't matter which crime scene was it. If it was drug related or murder or robbery, everything, they saw the same female profile and they didn't know what happened. So they went back and back and back and back, and they found out that it is a profile from a girl that works in the swab making factory. Those swabs weren't sterilized the proper way. Actually, they were sterilized, but they weren't DNA free. At that moment, we didn't know that what is the difference between DNA free and sterilized. And now we know, so it doesn't happen anymore. Environmental, maybe if you have some environmental things, environmental factors, and they can change your evidences. And personnel related, there could be something that can be on the crime scene. We had a phone call one year. Did you check that hand grenade that we brought you? And all the persons at the same team called us with the same question. Afterwards, when we check it, they found DNA of each and every person from that team. They didn't use right procedures. They were touching it without gloves. And then we couldn't do anything with it. We had the so much contamination that we couldn't get the real person. And about hand grenades in Serbia, it's interesting to know. We have many of them left after the wars. And if you go to suburbs of our country, you will find just one profile, one DNA, or maybe 2 or 3 that are related on the same hand grenade. Why? Because that was a souvenir from the war, and it's kept in the family. But in the large cities, in Belgrade, you will find many profiles on them. Why? Because they are selling them on the market. And you will find the profile of each person who handled it. So that's something that you can learn from it. You see, that's what we talked about. Is this person doing everything fine? No. Why not? Is it dressed like Muhammad was dressed? No, it's not. It's not dressed, just has gloves, and that's it. So that's not okay. We need to wear our equipment. Gloves, overalls, hair restraints, masks, and shoe covers. And then you're dressed. Does it look familiar?
Yeah.
Yeah, just a few, well, hour and a half ago, we saw that. A traditional crime scene, these are the evidences that you can find. And these are the ones that we most often find at the crime scene. Blood, visible, wet, dried, saliva and urine, and hair. It's most usual material. Also fingerprints. You have visible, plastic fingerprints, colored, maybe some fingerprints that are latent or invisible. And we have at the new crime scenes more and more digital evidence: computers, mobile phones, electronic devices. And there is a specific procedure for each type of these evidence. It's not the same. I will leave, like I said earlier, all these presentations with you. So if you have some case and you have something, you can say, oh, I know Anna left it for me. I will just check it to see what to do with that kind of evidence. Mostly they're blood evidence, bodily fluids, hair samples, and fingerprints that you can find, and they are from the category of biological evidence. If you have blood on removable objects, what will you do? Just pack an object, right? And how will you pack it? Photograph, collect entire piece of material, and how will you pack it? What kind of bag will you use? Should I maybe use something like this? I have a bloody t-shirt. Should I pack it like this?
Maybe it's too small.
Yeah, but if I had larger, would it be okay? And if it was sterile?
It depends, because if the blood is fresh, maybe it's better to.
The blood can stick on the surface.
Okay.
And you can have degradation of blood in bacteria. So in this condition,
You never place any bioevidence in plastic. Why? Because when you close it, you have some humidity inside. You will have nice cozy temperatures for bacteria and for fungus to develop, and they will eat all the DNA evidence that you have. And what will happen? Degradation. So we always use paper bags. I'm just using this one as a sample. Of course, I will need the larger one. And when I pack it, I try to pack it like this. Imagine that this is a shirt. First, I will put a piece of paper over it. And then I will fold it. Why?
Avoid the, let's say, cross contamination between different polymers.
Before all that, I will take a picture. Why? Because I need to know where each blood smear was at the time. I need to trace it to find each one of them separately. Maybe here I have a smear because someone broke someone's lip and there's a blood. But maybe here I will have a blood when someone pushed someone, punched someone, and his tooth went out and he spitted it out. Right here. And I need to know where each one of those blood types was. Then I will fold it with paper. It's usually wax paper, so it will transfer, and put it in this kind of bag. Write everything on it. Fold it once, fold it twice, not over the letters, but on the other side. And then tape it. Why tape it and not staple it? Because when you staple it, you know, office staple, you can punch through the material and you can damage it. Also, why not staple it? Because if you break the sealing, you will see that it's broken and you will need to write an explanation why it's broken. Staples, you can carefully put them out and carefully put them back in. That's why, because of chain of custody. Upon collection, keep package closed until arrival, then dry it in the laboratory. When it's in the laboratory, afterwards dry it and then storage it. Before analysis, after analysis, you need to storage it. Why we need to storage it after analysis?
Repeat the analysis.
Yes. If you need to repeat something. If
Or
there's
to
a question.
do some more investigation.
Yeah. And if they want some expertise on that race, they say, okay, you told us that it will be like that and that, but we don't think it is like that. We give them to be analyzed in some other laboratory, maybe. You can storage them for a long time if you dry them properly. If it's not dried properly, then no. And usually you need to do DNA isolation in the next couple of days because it's easier to storage isolated DNA than this whole package, but you need to keep it until the case is over. And afterwards, if there are no complaints, then you can get rid of it. Documentation, material designation, record book numbers, and collection information. You need to write what is in the bag. You need to record the number that you gave to that sample, and you need to document the date of location and collector's name. Why collector's name? Because each one of us is responsible for what we collected. White blood pools are different. We have to take samples from multiple areas. If we have pool of blood, not just at one point, but from a couple of points, each one with a separate swab. Then we also target dry edges. To take samples and place them in a paper bag and seal them. Dry them at the room temperature. If you collect, I don't know, 10 swabs, and you pack them in each individual plastic paper bag, would you carry them one next to each other if they are not dried? No, because then you're in danger for transmitting one to another, You can't really do that. I'm sorry, I'm walking around a lot. because I see it's after lunch and we are all a bit sleepy. Where do you pack them? Low temperature, dry environment, dark storage, and keep them in sealed bags. Why is it low temperature? Sorry? Low temperature, dry environment, dark storage, and sealed bags. Why do we do that? Because of contamination and degradation. High temperatures can degrade your DNA. Humidity can also be a factor in that. UV light can degrade your DNA, and sealed bags to prevent contamination. I don't know, did you have samples of blood in water or in snow? And how can you collect them? You use usually multiple cotton buds for the sample, collect them from several different areas. Dry outer, but there's no dry when it's in the snow. Yeah. When I say biopack bags, I mean just this one, paper bag for biological evidences. Seal bags, dry them, and then store them. Because there is snow mixed with blood, you will have diluted blood, and that will affect the volume of the DNA, concentration of the DNA that you will have for your final result. Sometimes you will have a dried blood on some non-porous surface, like metal or glass. And then you will have to moisten your cotton with sterile sodium chloride solution, like physiological solution, with a pipette. You can even find it in pharmacy stores. You have sterile sodium chloride solution packed for one use each. They're probably sold mostly for the as an eye drops, but you can use them for this as well. Collect blood as concentrated as it possible for large quantities, multiple samples, outer edges, and buds in bags. Why do we use outer edges? Because of the way the blood disperses when it dries. So on the edges, you will have higher concentration of blood cells. If you have something dried on the porous material, if there's a possibility, cut it. Or you can remove that unstained material from same item. Why? Because you want to have a blank, a control to see if there's anything. When it's t-shirt, usually you pack the whole thing and package them separately, always. How do you pack them? Paper bags always, fold and seal, avoid staples, and keep closed. So the procedure is more or less the same. When you are talking about saliva and urine evidence, it's a bit different. Why? In saliva, you have our own, how would I say, homegrown bacteria, our own mouth bacteria. And that's why when you collect the sample of saliva, it's necessary to keep it in the low temperatures, even if it's possible in a fridge. That's why we have those fridges that we can take to the crime scenes. Collect whole piece of material if there's a possibility, pack them individually, fold open and twice seal the tape, never use staples, and keep packages to the laboratory. If it's dried, you use swabs, just like with the blood, and the edge is always the priority. Here you can see some stained pillow. from saliva. The same procedure as the blood. Moisten sterile sodium chloride solution and then use it.
Isotonics.
Isotonic, yeah. Physiological isotonic, yeah. Here evidence is a bit different. And we have really large contamination risks because we have our own hair that we shed around, transferred during collection, and environmental sources. Maybe some wind will blow and you will find some other fiber, not just that hair, or maybe something else. And there are a couple of ways to collect hair samples. And usually you will take tweezers and put them in some paper envelope and pack it like that. And if you don't, you will use some tape. I like this, or bleach, like gel tape, like jelly tape. You can use it more often. And you can use a specialized vacuum cleaners with filters that are forensic scene vacuum cleaners and forensic scene filters. But what's the difference? If you take them with tweezers, if you take them with that OH film, you will know for each trace the exact location. But if you vacuum something, you will not know the exact location of the trace. That's the first thing. If you collect them with the tweezers, you are collecting just the hair. If you are collecting on the OH film, everything that's there, dust, some debris, everything will be also stuck there. And also, if you collect it like this, you can use it for microscopic exam, but you cannot use it for anything else before you do some special procedures of cleaning the hair. But using that procedures might compromise what's in that hair. Why do we need to know what's in the hair? What can you test from hair? And yeah, but it's more mitochondrial DNA. You can test our DNA just from the hair follicle, but you can test for drugs. You can test for many medicines, poisons, things like that. When you clean it, I don't know if everything will remain at the same level because you are cleaning it with a methanol solution and isopropyl solution. Short strand hair, you're using OH films, probably. Placing the envelope and then seal the tape. But for the long hair strands, you will use tweezers each time. If you have hair on the removable object, you will pack the whole object, and it's much easier. About fingerprints, you saw what you did with Sarah with latent fingerprints, but sometimes you can have visible fingerprints. And plastic. What are plastic fingerprints? Did you ever eat chocolate and the warmth of your fingers melted it? And when you removed your finger before eating it, you will see your fingerprint on the chocolate. That's plastic fingerprint. It's three-dimensional. See, they say wax, putty, soap, fresh paint. Chocolate, everyone understands chocolate. Much better like that. And visible fingerprints on removable objects. Here you can see on the laptop. We usually, all of us have fingerprints on our laptops, like this, when we are closing them. When are they visible? When we ate something before it, and then we touch it, probably. Of course, first photograph them, use appropriate lighting, include scale reference. Sarah showed you all of this. Package, use paper bags, and never cover prints with tape or other materials. Plastic, photograph them, and then you can use micro seal. Sarah showed you our kit, investigation kit, and you saw that there was a paste micro seal. It's a two-phase paste, and when you mix them, put them in some mold, it will stay. It will get like silicone-ish, and then you can get it out and get a fingerprint like this. Colored or etched fingerprints. This is just some kids' work. And you can have colored fingerprints, just take a picture. Fingerprints in the dust are different. Why? Because you are not leaving your fingerprint, but you are with your finger taking off the dust. That's why they are different. And you need to photograph them. Why? Because any movement of the air can influence that fingerprint that you have. After that, you can fix them on tape. Fingerprints in blood. For those fingerprints, we can use something like amino black or yellow and find our prints. Here, ninhydrin also works, amino black, acid yellow, if you have non-porous surfaces, because you see, it depends even of the material where the print is on. Which chemical will you use? It's not the same for each material. Latent fingerprints of removable materials, like everything removable, you will just pack it and take it with you. But firstly, you will take a picture. Fingerprint on the tape. You can find on the tape. On the tape, we usually use wet powder on those sticky tapes. Where do you think you can find them mostly on the tape? In what cases? No, but if you have tape like this, and now
When you have heat,
I touched it, don't do it. Break it, touch it, and tape something. It will be on the kidnapped person when I want to put it over their mouth or their hands, or maybe when making some package to seal the package. Maybe some packages with bombs and things like that. Dry non-porous, fresh print, brush. We did this together today. And if we have computer equipment, they tell you to use fluorescent powder. Okay, doesn't matter. Would you use on computer equipment magnetic powder? No, and not magnetic brush. Why?
Because on some laptop, for example, on Mac, you have some magnetic parts that can influence your photo.
Yes. You can influence the other type of evidence that you have, your digital evidence. So you never use anything magnetic and anything that can provide some electrostatic discharge. We'll talk about that later if you have some technical equipment. Dry non-porous materials and dry porous materials. transport ninhydrin, DFO, and other. Why we use ninhydrin and DFO at the laboratory, not on the crime scene? Ninhydrin.
Maybe danger.
Yes, for our health. And we need to use specific chambers with them because we don't want to inhale those vapors. So we need to be careful about all of that. When we talk about wet non-porous surfaces, we can try to dry it under natural conditions. Why don't we use heat source? Because it can damage your fingerprint, the one that's left there. And then we use specialized magnetic or wet surface powders. Everywhere, laboratory preference, controlled drying, special powders, immediate documentation. And now we are talking about type of evidence that is more and more on our crime scenes, digital evidence. I will not tell you everything that is here, but I will leave everything that is here for you. Computing devices, mobile phones, storage media, network equipment, peripheral devices like printers, and cloud storage. All of this is a possible digital trace and digital evidence. We need to use them and to find them in that way that they're legally admissible. They can be legally admissible just when you properly document it, accurately analyze it, completely recover it, and you can vouch for data integrity. Because it's not easy to have all that. And for each of these devices, the procedure is different. It's not the same. And that can be complicated. If you don't handle it in a proper way, you can destroy evidence. We talked about electrostatic discharge and what you never use. I will first tell you what you never use. We never use plastic bags. We never use styrofoam. We never use bubble wrap that is non-approved. Because also plastic packaging peanuts, you know what they are.
Yeah.
When you get some package with all of this, yeah. Everything of this from generates electrostatic discharge. What do we use? We use primer layer of some anti-static packaging, then with some shock absorbent that we need that it won't be broke, and it's also some anti-static foam, some alternative materials, maybe if we have them, cardboard, paper, and outer protection, that is a box. Also, what do you know that can influence your materials, your digital devices? Temperature, humidity, light exposure, dust and particulates, and magnetic field. When you think about digital device, think about your phone. Yes. And you want to keep your phone from all of this most of the times. That's how it's easy to remember for you. There are some multiple evidences and you need to save them. When we have a laptop like this, what evidence do I have? Do I just have digital evidence or do I also have DNA and fingerprints? Yes, I have everything. And then I will need, firstly, to take fingerprints and DNA before collecting digital evidences. Here are some differences between mobile phones and computers. When you have a computer, you need to unplug it or remove the battery and remove the battery. Don't shut it down. Why? Power prevents remote wiping and destruction of evidence, but maybe you can use something if you don't do it in a proper way. At the mobile phone, you can turn it off, but you never remove battery. Not just because we now have phones that you can't remove battery from, but because that is complicated. Probably, usually, if it's integrated, you don't do it at all. What are the core principles? Preservation of original state, minimizing contamination, maintaining chain of custody, and legal and ethical compliance. When you analyze digital evidence, do you analyze originals? Never.
No, you a copy.
You do a hard copy. You do a copy. Not hard copy, but a copy. You do a copy of every digital evidence, and then you analyze the copy. Why? When you analyze the copy, you always have original, and no one can tell that you tampered with that evidence. Everything leaves as is. And this is just step-by-step procedures. I don't want to bother you right now with that. How to isolate them, how to do with power management, and with cloud and Internet of Things devices and other medias, you need to know legal words always and to use that. Why do you need a legal warrant? Because cloud doesn't belong to you. It belongs to someone else. You cannot obtain it as a physical evidence. It's somewhere. So you will need the legal warrant to go to that company and to ask them to give them enough proofs that they can give it to you. That's why you need to do that. Also, documentation and chain of custody. This one is different. When you are giving someone digital evidences, possibly when it's on the cloud, you cannot have that tape sealed over and then say if the tape is broken, then someone tampered with it. It's a bit different with this kind of evidence. But that's why you work at the exact station. You will have each copy, and each copy will have the date stamp, and you will know if it's tampered or not tampered with. When we are talking about all the evidence, you need, when we talked earlier about scene security and access control. Why do we need that? Come on, we talked about this earlier today. To ensure that suspect or some other personnel are not getting near it. Proper protective equipment, electronic devices. Power and state management always, documentation always. Analysis restrictions, you need to know what to do first, and then some pre-sampling preparation. How to investigate, how to pack it, do you need everything, who ordered the sampling, and how do you order it? So you need to make your strategic planning for all the procedures. This is what you need to do. I think I said it for 10th time today. Why? Because I need you to remember everything. This is the important procedure. And now I just talk about types of evidence. I will give you a 5-minute break just to go outside and come back because I see that you are sleepy. Is it okay? Just 5 minutes?
Interesting. So just to share this presentation.
Yes, I will read everything.
It's really, really interesting. Something new
Maybe. Yeah, hopefully something new.
regarding black hole. I think
Mhm.
it is very difficult to
Yeah, it is.
the traditional.
Mhm.
I think that's.
عشرة عندي 30 بعدين خمسة طلعت شيء مشاركة يا أبو عبد الله
Yeah, I was trying to really something. I think I need to improve it's really interesting and maybe it is that really because then counts in the three. Yeah, just that counts. Maybe I think with that's a so it's okay. And so when you want something like this, you just say more words and less images. Yeah. I don't during the images or images in the or do I give some images? You usually start with 0 or you I think I put some kind of material that doesn't matter if it's like in the already written or because I don't sometimes you really
It's that's some paper for the conference. You just have to look at the paper. You can see. But when I do it for, I don't know, for training forensics course, for one course, I use one template. For biology, I use the other template. So when I open the presentation, I know that of course it is. It's easier for me to know. For biology, it's something really. Biology. It should be great. And for forensics, it should be dot. Okay, slide by slide. I will change the five one days, change the side one and the other one. They gave me first and foremost, he gave me something else, but I think more that there was some other items. He let me choose for the house. That's the funny thing. That's why I said I'm kind of crazy, and I made 8 presentations. So what? Crazy. Yes, just one thing that bothers me, the transplants, the font is really small. So I try to enlarge it then. Yeah, I didn't try, but I will try next time to tell him not to give me font lesser than last year. I will see if he will listen.
I was looking
Sì, infatti, sì, guardi, parlo con il Dipartimento della Funzione Pubblica. Sì, guardi, non so se può rispondermi lei e mi può passare all'interno. Io avrei un dubbio. Vorrei iscrivermi ad un master, c'è il bando del ministro. See you. Thank you for the coffee.
Okay.
So we talked about some types of bioevidence. Let's talk about some other types of bioevidence. There are collection of seminal fluids and dead samples. First, you need to have visual examination, UV light detection, but on UV light is only seminal fluid gonna be lighted, or maybe saliva and other fluids. So you need to do some tests, blue light spectroscopy and some chemical testing. UV detection is easy, but then you need to test for acid phosphatase. It's an enzyme. It can be found in samples of seminal fluid, of vaginal fluid, and some other samples, but you will get the test positive in 10 seconds when you have a seminal fluid. For any other fluid, the test will take longer. Also, we test for prostate-specific antigen. It's the is the conformation test, and you can find it at PSA, prostate-specific antigen. You can find it at the seminal fluid. Also, you can take a visualization of spermatozoa. They call this test Christmas tree test. Why? Because you color spermatozoa with colors. Their tails are green and their heads are red. And it looks like a Christmas tree because the branches are green, and then you go Christmas lights and Christmas balls that are red. It's easiest way to remember it. How can you collect seminal fluid? If you have small objects with dry stains, you will pack them. If you have larger objects, you will cut the section of it, and then you will cut the other section that we will use as a blank or as a control. If you have fresh liquid sample, just swab it. And if you have some non-transportable surfaces, you will just use a sterile cotton swab, moisten it with isotonic solution, sterile isotonic solution. You had, Sarah showed you earlier, sex crime scene kit. Did each of one take a look at this kit? It's very easy to use it. You can come in front to see it if you want to. This one is a female and male kit, also can be used. And we have all the steps in this kit. You write everything in here. And here, everything is backed by numbers. Debris collection. How do you collect it? With a swab. Where do you pack it? Everything is here. Genital swabbing. Everything you need is here. Explained. Write the questions. What to do, how to pack it. Everything is also here. And everything. Step 11. When you finish everything, all the steps, you have everything that you need here. You have plates for your samples. You have small cards. And you have card boxes. You pack your swabs. You have tweezers for the hair. So everything you need is here. You just need to follow numbers and follow steps. So it's easy to use. It's not just used by the police, but it's also used by medical staff. And when you finish packing it, you can take to seal it. And that's how you know that it's not damaged. It's very easy to use. Very user friendly. When you have saliva as forensic evidence, we already talked about it. What's the test that you will do? Oh, here are some samples that you can collect for saliva sampling. Cigarette butts, chewing gums, toothbrushes, postal cards, some postal items, facial coverings. How do you call them? Baklavas, yeah? Pasumotanya, yeah. Yeah, we call them phantom hats in Serbia, yeah. because you don't know who's wearing it. It's a phantom. Some drinking glasses or bottles, that's why I said bite marks and cosmetics. You detect them and collect them. And you can do a Fadebus test. Do you know what's Fadebus test? When iodine comes to contact with starch, the color becomes purple. But in our saliva, we have an enzyme, amylase. That enzyme is dissolving starch to sugars. And after that dissolving, you will lose that color, that purplish bluish color. If you saw on the first slide here, how the color is removing. If you have some object and you think that there's saliva on that object, on that shirt, something, then you can put a paper. It's called Fadebus paper. You can put on it, just wet it, press it with something, and where you see the color change, there are your saliva samplings. So that's interesting to do. Hair evidence collection. Also, we talked about that, how to collect them, where to collect them. You can find them on masks and baklavas. You can find them on some hats or some that sport hats, discarded clothing, and crime scene. Hair grows in different phases, so it's important to know. Here on the crime scene, microscopic examination, neutron activation examination, genetic marker analysis, and DNA profiling. What is neutron activation analysis important for when we are talking about hair? Because we will see all the traces, and we can tell that some elements have some special characteristics of gamma ray, and then by the quantities of them, we can tell in which region that person was in the last period. Urine sampling collection. We already talked about that. Fecal matter collection. Like with saliva, like with all that, it contains bacteria. So you need to take a part of sample, sectioning some surfaces if you need to cut them, scraping technique if it's a dried sample, and swabbing technique maybe used sometimes. When you pack it, you need to keep it frozen because of bacteria. We had a case in Serbia where the guy was putting things on fire, and after each that crime, near the crime scene, they would find some amount of fecal matter. So after he burned something, he would defecate himself. We don't know why, it's something psychological, but he would do that at the crime scene. And the inspectors connected that it might be connected to the crime because they saw it at each crime scene. And they took a sample and they found him from that sample. It's a strange thing, but also perspiration sample collection, vaginal sample collection, secretion collection. Usually, when you have vaginal sample collection, you have it mixed with seminal fluid. And in the laboratory, you can separate them partially by centrifuging them, because the epithelia cells that are in vaginal secretion are larger and heavier, and they will go to the bottom, and seminal fluid will stay on the top. dental evidence and bite marks. You can get them on the skin, some bite impressions, and you can get them on some objects. Mostly some fruits. When you're collecting teeth for tooth, you try to collect 2 of them, and you freeze them also. They are sometimes the only evidence, usually after fires, that can give us DNA at the end. That's why we need to collect them. Under your nails, there's usually some material, and we use that undernail material when we are talking about what? About some fight or maybe sex crime when they were scratching each other. So we use that material. And we need to collect it by nail clipping or by some small, like a toothpick, sterile toothpick apparatus. Nasal secretion collection is used sometimes, but also needs to be frozen, just like nails. And then we have reference samples. What does reference sample mean? Yes. You know the identity of the person who gave you the sample.
Or the exact concentration.
Yes. Not always the concentration, but you're taking buccal swab, most probably. And do you use that reference sample for anything else or just for the crime scenes? Do you know any legal cases where you can use them as well?
Information is
Paternity tests. Yeah. We had one specific situation at the lab where I was working my PhD. The guy came from paternity test, and the colleague took his swab, and she saw that the color of the swab was strange, but she didn't say anything. She took 2 swabs, and when she analyzed it, she got some mixed profile. Like there were 2 people in that sample, and she was thinking, "Oh, I did something wrong. I made some." Yeah, but one of the samples was the father of the kid, and the other one wasn't. So she took, because we always take 2 swabs, she took the other swab to check it, and at the other swab that was lighter of the color, we had more father material and the less material of that other person. Later, we had an investigation, and we found out that he took a capsule with someone else's blood in it. And when he was just before the test started, he bit through that capsule to release that blood in his mouth, so that other material, that other person's DNA, we will detect and not his. And he will be, he will not be a father of that kid. Yeah, he knew that he was. So the people are doing terrible things. And when you're doing when you're working in a lab like this, the first thing you think about is that you made some mistake. But it wasn't your mistake. Just sometimes you don't think that someone could think of doing something like that, just not to be the father of his own kid. And later, when everything was processed, all the case, we talked about that with not with him directly, but the judge talked about him with him and told him, do you know what's the risk of taking someone's blood in your mouth? What if that person had some disease or something? And how did you actually do that? So sometimes we can't even think what people are ready for. Sometimes you use venous blood sample. Why don't you use blood samples as much? Why do you use more buccal swab?
They are easier to conserve.
It's easier for a person to give you his approval to take his buccal swab than to point something at him and to penetrate its skin. And we need to use the methods that will not hurt the person that we are investigating. So we are trying to do buccal swabs as much as we can. Some hair swabs, you usually take 20 or 30 hairs. And when you use blood, you have two anticoagulants that you can use, sodium citrate and EDTA, heparin, because heparin is a bioproduct and it can tamper with your results. What we had as well, we had a sample when the investigator, it was an inspector, knew in his head that someone did the crime. And when he took the reference sample, he took one more than it should be, and he applied it on the evidences from the crime scene. And by the concentration, we could say that he tampered with the evidence. Yeah, so he lost his job because of that. Just because he wanted to prove something. Now we have some alternative blood collection methods because we'll use that filter paper. It's very easy to use it. You just put it, and this FTA paper also has some medium that contains some regions that afterwards you will have already isolated DNA on them. And you just punch it, take a small piece of that paper and analyze it. So it's much easier for you later to do it. When you want to take hair reference sample, you can pluck it or you can cut it sometimes, or you can pluck it manually or by tweezers. Venous blood, we already talked about it. Buccal swab sampling, it's non-invasive procedure. And when you get your DNA, you need to storage them and to preserve them. If you were a suspect, but you were not committed for that crime, in your country, how long can I keep your DNA sample?
Say forever because there is a case here in Italy where after 20 years they found maybe other evidence with another suspect. But I don't know about the conservation of his DNA because you have the DNA on the
database.
Maybe yes.
And what if you were a victim? How long they can keep your DNA sample in the database?
In the prescription.
Yes, but you're a victim. Why would your DNA should stay in the database? And human rights. Yeah, it's really human rights issue. Kept forever. And do you erase it after the person is dead? Should you erase it after the person who the sample belongs to died? And if he has a son, that person has a child that is taking his steps, her steps. Yeah, we have a lot of different databases, and it's interesting. Yeah, and as someone who worked at the DNA lab, my sample is at the database. And I'm not working at that lab for more than 10 years. Does my sample need to be there? Each of these forensic experts, their DNA is in the database. Why? If they contaminate the crime scene, we need to know that there was a contamination. And we need to know the exact moment that there was a contamination. So that's interesting. And after that someone changes the job or goes to pension, do we erase DNA of that person from the database? Or do we keep it? It's a question for you. Each country does it differently. In England, UK, once in database, forever in database. And they can take your sample for not just crimes, but for misdemeanors. For jaywalking. They can take your DNA sample if they want to. It's different in some other countries. In Belgium, in Denmark, it's much different. So I don't know if you know regulations in your country. Yeah. But if you go as CBRNE at the crime scene, and afterwards they find your DNA, what would you tell? Yeah, I contaminated the crime scene. But if you contaminated the crime scene, you also contaminated yourself with the crime scene. So it will not be okay. Do you know why samples that are from plants and from animals are important on the crime scenes? Do you think they are important? Do you recognize them as important? Most people don't. Sorry?
In Italy, the maximum is 40 years.
40 years.
Yeah.
As a database.
Yeah. But only for, let's say, the mean is 30 years. But for extreme gravity situation,
It's great. Yeah, I think in Serbia it's less. Yeah, because we had the law in the last, I think, 2019 and then 2020 first or 21 or 22, it was changed. Don't trust me. I don't follow the years. BC or AC, before COVID and after COVID. let's share time like that. Most people don't recognize the significance of the plant and animal traces, but there are many important things. There was a case in Bosnia a couple of years ago where the guy was coming home with his wife from some party, and he was living outside of the city. His house was on the one side of the road. On the other side of the road was the forest. And the guys were waiting for them in the forest. After the car stops in front of the gate, they shoot him through the glass and they killed him. But what they did, for them to have a better view, they broke some branches with their hands. We had skillful enough technician, forensic technician, who knew what to do. And he cut those branches and collected them as samples and sent them to the DNA laboratory to take DNA from the branches. And they found the epithelial cells of the guys who committed the crime. And on that evidence, they convicted them. So no matter how insignificant it seems to you, bioevidence, zoo evidence are important. Do you know the first case where animal DNA was used in crime investigation? It's a case of Snowball the cat. Snowball was one little furry white cat, and when husband and wife divorced, husband went to live with his parents, and parents had a cat. The wife was found in the mountains in the snow, dead, killed. And when they asked the husband, he said, I didn't see her since I moved out. So I didn't see her for a long time. And the investigator thought that was suspicious. And he was trying to see what evidence can he gather. And he saw on the wife some white hair. And he remembered that his parents had that cat with white hair. So he said it might be the same. But they needed to do DNA analysis to compare if it's exact match for that cat. And that's the first case. So now Snowball the cat is our DNA cat. When we are talking about forensic botany and forensic zoology, we need to know some fundamentals. What do we use mostly? Where do we use it? Where do you think mostly forensic botany is used? No. Psychoactive drugs. Cannabis, magic mushrooms. Yeah, things like that. Production of heroin, cocaine. You have plants. You begin with plants. You know this. That's where you use it mostly. And we sometimes forget that these drugs are also plants. Yeah. And these plants have what? They have pollen. They have structure. They have some identification marks that we can use to detect them. In zoology, what do you think the most usual crime is? And what's the most usual sample for zoology? Bite marks. When someone's dog bites someone. Yeah? And you need to prove it. We had problem with some population in Serbia because we have stray dogs, and the municipality is responsible for their dogs. So people went to doctor and told him, oh, the stray dog bit me. And they will give a compensation from the city. The compensation was like 5 months, 6 months salary. So they developed a pattern. You could see after a few months, another member of that same family was bitten by a dog. The most terrible thing is that it wasn't bitten, but they found a dog head. They cooked it. I don't want to know how they found it. Let's just say it was already dead dog. They cooked it. They took the skull and they were making bite marks with the dead skull on each other, just to get the money for them to live and not be able and not to go to work. Yeah, it was a huge affair in Serbia 20 years ago. So, like I told you, you never know how people's brain work, because that's not a thing that you will think of. Also, the famous part of forensic zoology is forensic entomology. And you use it to establish post-mortem interval or the time of death. What is critical for critical importance of biological evidence? To detect them, to document them, collect them, and preserve them. Why? When you get them, especially plants will change their appearance in the short period of time. So you need to preserve them correctly. And what are the objectives? Identify or eliminate, confirm or refute, at the crime scene, on the objects, and on persons. One of the most well, how would I say it? Non-observed evidence is the pollen. Do you know what pollen is? At the plant, at the top, yeah? You know the pollen grains, yeah? And it is so microscopic that it can be in your hair, it can be in the stitches of your wardrobe, in your shoelaces, and you won't see it. You won't know that it is on you, but you are taking it with you to the crime scene or from the crime scene. So it's important part of evidence that you can find. We have many different subjects in forensic biology and many different disciplines. I won't bother you with them. And what's the application? You can analyze some samples, connect them with the crime scene or with the person, and give your resolution, give your decision. And when we are working with that, forensic botanists must know many things and must do many things. But what I say to my students, it's not your job to recognize the sample, to identify them. Your job is to document it as good as you can. Why? Because you're not a biologist, you're not a botanist. Just describe it, take photos, pack it, preserve it. Someone else will do that other part of the job. Okay, so now I will just finish it in a few minutes. And one more slide I just have for forensic botany here. careful inspection, plant type determination, and temporal assessment. Inspection of the materials, collection of the materials, and preservation. There's a large list when you're taking some plant samples. You're not writing just those on documents that Sarah told you, but you need to write the color, the shape, where you found it. Was it on the ground? Was it somewhere higher up? If you have some small plant, do you pluck it? Do you dig it out? If you have some large plant, where do you cut it? How do you cut it? How do you pack it? Do you freeze it? Or do you put it in some herbarium, thing like that, to preserve it? There are many, many questions, and we will answer them tomorrow. And now I will give floor to Sarah. She'll talk a bit more with you. Is there need for some break now, or do you want us not to have a break, but to finish a bit earlier? With now break. Okay, short. Okay, let's take a short break, really short. Last time I said 5 minutes, it was 15 minutes. So let's be 5 minutes.
Ne, ali sam ukucala u ChatGPT ono da završi, pa da vidite, poslala sam.
الرسالة استغربت من هنا سنة مسألة لازم اسوي كذا لازم
لا بس عادي يعني هو في خوف بس انه لا تسويه.
هذا بشيء عارض طبي او شيء
Visto uno si sta fumando una pipa.
Sì, ma l'ho vista
No, no. Allora, secondo me, sono i redditi, sono i redditi che non dovrebbero reagire. Infatti, ogni anno c'è spesso che essere ora, diciamo, tra la fine dei critici. Non si dovrebbe tanto per la nostra però fanno tutti parte di un grande di genere, perché come non abbiamo stesso. Invece, una grossa c'è una faccenda, quindi un'altra abbastanza questo. E certo è che essendo tutti materiali conosciuti, si aumenta il rischio per la tecnologia per la parte di genere. Quindi potrebbe essere che se il fuoco di un certo quantitativo attivo una resistenza al fuoco per cause così. No, secondo me lo so, perché gli animali vuoi tenere 5 minuti, certo. Chiaro. Questo di sicurezza che presento se non sono la sicurezza che persone di e non c'è una penale non starei a metterci migliaia di chili così finché sono, non so. No, se vanno sulla festa, camminiamo anche per strada per la mercare, non sembra che ci può fare di musica. Non credo che faccia loro differenza. Giusto capire se ci sono delle opportunità di scriversi per la sapere. Avevano mandato il verbale. Negli anni poi quando il verbale. Ah, sempre Sì, scusami, dicevo, il locale 14, il locale quello di preparazione, no? Esatto, non quello dove è quello che mi ha fatto vedere Claudio, diciamo, sai. Sì. Certo. È il nostro. No, sì, non ci sono quelli che c'è sì, sì, devo avere espressione di sì, sì, sì. Sì, forse si doveva ripagare se cioè, la notifica dell'articolo di notifica per alcune modifiche non si paga senza. Per alcune dici potremmo ripetere il credo storico non venga solo in le sostanze, ma ne ho fatto invece anche c'è del radio cioè abbiamo il scrivere va bene. E ascolta, io ho visto che ti sei mandato le tue esperienze, che in verità non l'ho ancora aperto, non so adesso stavo
Perché tipo il problema col problema è questi che di quel tempo sedute. E quindi quando le cose toccavano a te, tu hai fatto le cose, addirittura io che ti devo parlare, ti cazzo con me.
Certo, anche io volevo dire di poter, cioè, durante una settimana ci vuole.
Perché secondo me non ho fatto il capito. Cosa devo fare? Soprattutto. Non posso fare.
Sì, demandano, però mi sembra che sempre
Guarda,
va bene, ci dico grazie a voi. Ciao.
si basta. Questo non c'è mai. E questo è una cosa Sì,
Okay, let's start.
So we can continue previous introduction. So crime scene is a systematic process, and tomorrow you will be divided in two groups, and each of you will have their own case to study, to do at the crime scene. So one of you will be a witness, one of you will be the first officer to respond, and also there will be a forensic team which will wear everything on themselves. So if you come here, what will you first do tomorrow? You were called as a forensic team, and what will you do first? Watch cameras, okay? So we will today, now, we will say what one forensic needs to do tomorrow at the crime scene. And that will be the summary of crime scene investigation. And you will do that by yourself tomorrow without any questioning. So if you are the first officer, you come to crime scene and you talk to witnesses. Witnesses will be two of you, and I will tell one story to one witness and the other story to the other witness. Why is important to have two stories? Because when you go to crime scene, everyone has their own perspective, and maybe I heard 4 shots, and someone heard 3 shots, and some other thing like this. Maybe this wasn't shot and someone heard it is shot. Okay. So the first officer will talk with witnesses and call the equipe of forensic sciences. Okay. So what will first forensic sciences do? Ask for cameras from main person at the university, so we won't go really to them. You will ask Anna for cameras, and you will have some things on video. Okay. So second thing is securing area, and we talked a little bit about securing and entrances. Main thing is to get just one in and out, one place that you come to crime scene, and the one place that you get from crime scene. Okay. Do you have questions about that? You will have the trace and you will point everything, entrance and exit. Okay. So secure area and limited access, and professor will come and say, I order you to get in, and you will say what you can get in or not. Can she get in if she's the head of police or not? At the crime scene. You are at crime scene tomorrow, okay? And someone of head come to you and say, I want to get in. Can he get in?
Depends. It's a right.
Okay, but if he's not appropriate closed,
No.
he can't. Okay. So you need to establish boundaries, prevent contamination from everyone, and maintain entry and exit log. Initial assessment is to safety check 8 injured person. First, you need to check if there is someone from witnesses that needs aid, or if there's someone who needs some help, or someone who is at the crime scene, like witnesses. Then observe scene conditions, also identify potential evidence. So first, when you come, you put your arms in pockets and watch through every meter square on that scene. There are some different methods to observe, and we talked about that earlier. There are several methods. When you go just in line, and you need to go by 1 meter, so you go to through the whole scene, and you only walk straight. The other method is to go circle, and from the entrance, you get in circles to the center. Second one is to go straight, but you don't just come the same line. You go straight, and then on the other hand, you go to the right side. So if you went from left to right, now you go right to left. Okay. You can see that search patterns here, and you have line search, grid search. When you go left, right, also spiral search, zone or quadrant search, and point-to-point method. About documentation, after you search everything and not touch anything, we are looking for other traces, and first of all we get pictures from the whole crime scene, but crime scene you photo from the entrance. When you step inside, you photo, and after that from the all sides of this room you need to take pictures. So you get one from here, from one from the other side, one from right side, and one from left side. Okay, one of you will do that tomorrow. So after that, video recording. Tomorrow you won't need to video record, but in some cases at crime scene, generally you have to video record. After that, you get sketches or diagrams, and one of you will have a pencil and paper, and need to check everything and draw everything of traces you found on that sketch. Okay, you need to choose that fixed point, and after that, after fixed point, you draw every evidence, every trace, on that paper from that fixed point. You need also to note everything and observe everything before you step, when you are at crime scene, and also your conclusions after. Some of you will be in laboratory and tell if there is blood or it's just maybe another liquid that is red. About evidence collection, you need to proper technique and packaging. You did that here today. How to collect something? Is it a biological trace or not? After that, with biological, you have swab sterile containers. After that, you need to tape lift every paper, like every trace. And if you have firearms, we don't have it. You will not have it. Also, do prints with powders and lifting tape. Was everyone here when we when we lift fingerprint from plastic? Before, yeah, everyone saw that. If we need something to repeat, you can say that. Okay, and after that we have chain of custody. Someone will be prosecutor, and he will see if you did everything right, and did you track every handler. Also, you need to record time, date, and reason, and maintain evidence integrity. We said that there are specialized forensic analyses, and you will choose who you will bring that evidences. You will ask for DNA profiling, fingerprint analysis, or ballistics or toxicology. You will choose what you need. Every one of you will write on the paper what specialists do you think you need for that crime scene. Okay. About reconstruction, we will talk after that case, what you did properly and what you maybe made a mistake. And about reconstruction, you can combine evidence and statements, also reconstruct events and test hypotheses. About final report, you will just say to us what you did. Do you think someone made mistake? We want to see if you can judge another one from you. Can you find some mistake that someone get? Also, methods used, observations, photographs, and sketches. We will see what you sketch. Maybe if there is something more that you don't need. And also there are findings and interpretation. Presentation in court will be our presentation in classroom from all of you. And I think that is the best way to remember what some case study and CSI investigation has to be. You won't forget any of steps if you do that by yourselves. That's the point. That's the whole point of tomorrow's CSI. Okay. Do you have any questions?
But tomorrow will be divided into two seats.
Yes, two teams, and every team will have everyone, prosecutor, forensic team, first officer, first responder,
Okay.
also witnesses.
But about the report.
Mhm.
The report is a common report to presenting courts, or everyone has to write down this report for his part.
Everyone will report tomorrow what he did and what every person who is forensic scientist do at the crime scene.
Okay.
Report, text.
Report for first, yeah.
Yeah.
For everyone. Because that's the whole point, that you can remember tomorrow what you did.
If you have any more questions, Sergeant, I will answer it to you, and we can now divide ourselves to two groups, and give each other assignments, so we will not lose the time from the investigation. Could you do that? Okay, please do.
What we want to
Your names on the paper.
Yeah.
Would you like maybe
You can click a paper, like 3 columns. One is P1, P2, and the other one is assignment.
so everything needs to have 2 witnesses?
Who wants to be a witness, who wants to be each part, yeah, maybe write the assignments first, so they will check the assignment, start reviewing the assignment, so the crime scene.
First one is 2 witnesses.
The assignment is, each team, witnesses.
If making bold, will take ages.
And after that, you will have first responder, one. After that, you have police. And after that, everyone, except because we're going to write down the names.
Okay.
You can send paper maybe. Just remember who is who.
So I think that we have to divide ourselves into teams, and then we have to fill this little table. So for each team, we need 2 witnesses, 1 first responder, and 1 prosecutor. And then we have the forensic team. In the forensic team cannot be the person that are witnesses, first responder, or a prosecutor. So how many?
4 witnesses, 4 will be witnesses.
About the witnesses?
There's 16 for
16. So 8 and 8. So 1, 2, 3. 6, 7, 8. Okay. Okay, let's start with P1. So P1 is besides besides. So I need to refer some for witnesses. Let me still care. I'm saying, what to need One witness I'll do it. Oh, do we have a leader? So that's, do we have a leader? Okay. Picture was this one. The first responder. I need the one first responder in each team. Is the police officer that goes to the forensic team. That's fine. So of course, there's nothing. By the way, Thomas doesn't sleep. So they want something with advice. So you are on the left or the left from the side, just so maybe you. We were more. That means I go from this side. Maybe you are. Maybe. YouTube. This one. The first responder and executor of
Sento Alessandro mi dice if you want to stay in that group, no, è uguale, non siamo certi siamo tutti insieme, c'è
Lo ricordi ai Roma quando nessuno di non si trovato per l'umanità. Io sono testimone, poi vedete lo fanno.
L'intero c'è una storia. Come sono anche gli altri fanno un'esperienza buona per
Se un po' da parte le aspettative, perché l'ultima volta dopo le schifezze della diversione, ho detto io ho fatto schifo di quello che la vita in piedi, no? Che c'è la certa prima
Yeah, but I'm correcting the last 2 minutes.
Non c'ho magari, ma.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow.